Peace and blessings, y'all. This is your boy, Youre. It is the 8th of January, 2016. How is everyone doing? I want to take time out. What you might not realize is right now I am burning my sage and myrrh for you. That's right. I'm burning this for you because I'm sending tranquility and inner peace to your spirit. Because I know some of you right now, 2016 has not been positive for you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You have all these affirmations going on and things that you envision in yourself. But on the first day, the first hour, you had the kitchen sink proverbially thrown at you and it got you shook. You're trying to step away from the things that you can't turn a blind eye to. You're actually embracing the courage that was already there to place that first foot forward. And I commend you. Now, mind you, what you're witnessing right now is supposed to happen. Don't get caught up in how it is displayed. Don't get caught up on how it is presented to you. Everything that is occurring exactly as it should. Because see, what you don't realize, y'all, is you are now in the position of the things that were holding you back. It's a little unsettling now because now you're in your emotions. Actually, you were already in your emotions the moment you took your first breath, but along the way, you had events attack your state of being and you became desensitized over a period of time. Think of it like this. If I turn around and I gain 30 pounds, it's going to take me a while to take it off. But the kicker is I have to be consistent to receive that outcome. Now, not to sway from what this is going to be about, but I'm going to share this right off the bat. For the last 2.5 years, I've been trying to put weight on my frame. And you're probably saying, why would you want to do that? Because see, in my spirit, in so many words, I'm going to need this to support my wings. That's right, I didn't stutter. So what you're going to witness through 2016 is you're going to watch me transform. You're going to watch me change. You're going to watch me continue to grow. See, for those who have given me the honor, because let me tell you something, y'all, it's a blessing to have a moment in your life. See, I can't see what is your day-to-day. I can't. I don't have that permission. So it keeps me grounded and it keeps me humbled because I realize and I know the importance of time. And anytime that someone gives you that, you are supposed to treasure it. Why? Because you're not promised you're going to see it again. I think some of us already know that. Some of us deal with the fact that they say to themselves, okay, you woke me up again, but my heart says, I wish I had yesterday. But you can't have yesterday because the lessons and experiences of that day have already been fulfilled. The question is, did you learn? Did you take stock in what was being revealed? Now, mind you, everything that you experience are the effects of affirmations and deeds once done. Do not think for 1 second that when we make decisions not in our best interest, that as long as no one doesn't see it, you are scot-free. Oh, no, no. Because what you may not want to take accountability for, see, y'all, we live on an earthly realm. That's why we have bodies. But we are living spirits first. Our bodies only serve as a means to move around on this realm. But it's our spirits that live forever. It just depends on where your end destination is going to be. I know that's going to go over some people's heads, but I'm going to tell you something. If you were in a fire and you were burned up, you were burned. The person inside you still exists. The outer features may have been altered because of the fire, but it does not change who you are in the inside. I know I'm talking to someone. You may be going through some challenges right now because you are thinking about times past. And you remember it as a period of maybe bliss, happiness. And these are marks of reflection. But that is not the case now because you've got added knowledge now. You have awareness now. And you're starting to see the world through a different set of eyes, proverbially. You have clarity on things. That's what growth is all about. You're not supposed to add a year and stay in the same place. No. But we do have what we know as soul contracts. That's why you always hear people using the same phrases as what's done in the dark comes to the light. What goes around comes around. They serve as a message to those who are not aware. You don't see the awareness or the importance of it until you mature to understand what each word applies to your life. It just depends on what position you wish to view it as. So we're living in an age, y'all, that a lot of people want to use deception, wordplay. They want to play the shell game pretty much and have the truth, and they want to dilute it. The fact of the matter is, you were brought on this planet to fulfill a promise. That's why you were here. That's why you're here now. But until you know who you are, you can't understand what that is. That's why it's very important to be grounded. That's why it's important to invest in you. That's why it's important to never stop learning. Because you do understand the moment that you choose not to learn, that's the day that you die. You know why? Because anything that is stagnant will never produce growth. It doesn't. It produces blocks. it produces mundanity. Oh, I don't know if that. Yeah, and that's not your life. It never was. It never was. So it's a choice. Does it surprise you now more than ever? People are getting divorced in alarming rates. And from the outside, where when you don't know what's going on, you you're left baffled. Like, well, what happened? You know, they seem like they were the perfect union. It's quite simple. One was a believer and one was not. One wanted to continue to believe and one did not. So guess what? You can't be yoked. That's not a spiritual union, and it's not blessed. Now, as I've grown and I strive every day to learn something new, and I'll tell you something, y'all, the world that we live in is pretty disturbing. But what's more terrifying is there's going to come a time when your legacy will be fulfilled and you're going to leave this realm. And the things that you leave behind are going to be your testimony for those to possibly learn from. And this is 2016, y'all. And look how we are functioning. You know, it's like the things we shouldn't matter. Nah, that's not important. The things that we want, they're there in abundance. But see, you'll come to understand these were nothing but systematic spiritual blocks for you to choose. See, when God allowed you to breathe for the very first time, your legacy was written. It was written. I know somebody right now saying, well, I think I got the short end of the stick, Joe, because all I've seen is pain. Let me explain something to you. The devil's a liar. He always will be. And he will always use the things that you gravitate to hold you back. Those are nothing but shackles. Those are nothing but spiritual ties. Those are things that will never yield the best you. That's why it's so plentiful. You know, think of it like this. If I had some livestock, right, and I constantly made a point to feed it, I'll do one better. We'll just say this ain't even my life. This is not even my pet, my livestock at all, right? But I make a point to go out there every day to give it food, give it water, give it time. Eventually, that livestock is going to build a rapport. It's going to build a form of trust because it's going to become compliant to be around me. Now, let's turn it a little bit. So if I turn around and every day systematically put myself out there and I am only putting out negativity through my actions, wouldn't the things that I'm exposed to or is exposed to me have a side effect too? And that's why we have to be very conscious in what we put ourselves in willfully. That's where you hear that parable of what glitters is not always gold. I ain't got to tell you that. Some of y'all got a jewelry box full of mementos that are really nothing but pain. I ain't got to tell you that because every day you look in the mirror, you see a roadmap of ink and underlining these were your burdens. These were nothing but trophies of your despair. That's why when you come in contact with someone that has ink done, I guarantee you a nickel to a dime, they can tell you exactly where they were compared to where they are now. Some of them may have never left, and that is a symbolism of their emotional state. That's why it's very important, y'all, that you take stock in your life. So I'm sitting up here this morning, and yes, I know I have had a lot of activity on my channel as of late. And let me tell you, from the bottom of my heart, I thank each and every one of you for allowing me to share, to express my thoughts as well as my gifts. If someone had told me nearly 5 years ago that I would be leaving recorded messages and video talking about spirituality, I would have looked at you and said, you got the wrong guy. And I don't say that to be negative. It's just, I can't even, there's no words that I can express to let you know how grateful my life is now. Because see, you don't have to tell me, you don't have to convince me that God is not real. I'll share this with you. And I'm going to get to the main reason why I'm putting this video out. 5 years ago, I thought that I was on top of my life in regards to how I lived and where I foresaw myself going. Then I hit a brick wall in a relationship that I was heavily involved in. Because of the outcome of that, it shook me to the core. The devil's a liar. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Gotta love those robocalls. But you know, with that reality of what would be revealed, what would be learned, the first thing that popped in my spirit was this: can a man be made new? Didn't understand where it came from, but it was ingrained in my spirit. And I went on this crusade, so to speak, with myself to try to understand, number one, why this question was posed to me, as well as try to understand why it was being revealed to me at that time. And that would begin my journey. I would have introductions to what synchronicity as well as serendipity meant. I would also be introduced to what the term passion meant. See, what I didn't know, y'all, is it was at that time a moment that God had called for me to do his work. And I really believe that I don't want to say I was losing my mind, but there was a whole lot of activity going on in my heart, whole lot of activity going on in my spirit, and I didn't understand what and where this was coming from. But you know what I did, y'all? It was at that time I had made a conscious decision to reach out to God. And I remember sitting on the foot of my bed, and I cried. I cried and I cried and I cried. This may be you. You might be going through this now. See, what I didn't know was, see, those beloved tears, those are your tears. Those tears are blessed. And those tears heal the soul. It's a spiritual band-aid. And for almost 6 months, I had these bouts with my emotions. It would feel like a floodgate would be opened, like somebody had opened my heart, walked on in there, and started doing some construction. And I didn't understand what was going on because for the reality that I had, I always believed that I was a good guy. But I wasn't a saint, y'all. I'm human just like you. And you know what happened? The more and more I started gravitating to God, the more and more things would be revealed to me. Some would give me understanding, and some would be revelations. When I convey to you guys that, because I got a feeling that some of y'all might be dealing with some emotional baggage right now, and it's feeling like it's regurgitating, and it's having effect on you. That's why when you out and about, you come in contact with somebody, you see the weirdness over their eyes. It's exactly that, because see, that's coming from it's coming from inside them out, and it's manifesting on their body. You know what I'm talking about. You know that person right there that's close to your life. They ain't even 30 years old, but they look like they 45. It's because they've been carrying a burden inside them for so long, and they've tried to convince themselves that, well, you know what, if I go to this distractor, I ain't got to worry about that pain. And then you go and seek. But then you come to the understanding that it was all a waste of time. Because, see, everybody goes through a proverbial honeymoon phase when you interact with another human being. It's always going to be good in the beginning, but it's the moment that you start to invest in time, the person who they really are is shown. That's why Maya Angelou said in one of her poems, when a person shows you who they are, believe them, because that is the truth. But my queens, see, society has convinced you to not honor yourself, to use deception as a tool, even from yourself. But haven't you realized it always brings you back right where you began eventually, only to compound more, as well cost you more than it was worth to begin with. I know I'm talking to someone. There's somebody right now listening to this, and you know darn well you've been living a lie. Fear is your best friend. Pain is your relative, because see, that's all you know. Because see, that's all that has ever been shown from your rearing. So you are only emulating what was taught. We also know that, y'all, is generational curses, y'all. That's why I always say the apple don't fall far from the tree. But it's your responsibility to account for all those seeds so they don't get planted to taint those that are going to come behind you. Because see, everybody has the ability to change. It's a choice. That's what free will is about. But see, if you constantly have the influence to not grow, to not challenge yourself, to not speak your truth, you're just going with the flow of life. You might as well be sitting on that river of emotion in a boat, just going through the direction that it takes you. Aren't you tired? Aren't you tired of convincing yourself that this is all it's going to be? I know I'm talking to someone. If there was a way to socially identify a person from, uh, let me catch myself. First of all, the term PTSD, you know it from being associated with veterans who have served. But see, that's an umbrella term because PTSD has always existed through mankind. We just never had a proper definition to define what we were seeing. That's why we know about bipolarism just as well as we know about narcissists today, because everything is connected. That's why it doesn't surprise you when you got that message of, oh, such and such is not here anymore, but you watch this person grow. It was who they were. So it don't surprise you. To the point, sometimes you're like, Lord, just do your will and take them. It was hard to watch them slowly, systematically kill themselves. You already knew the outcome because that was the path they were going on. But it's not our right to judge. But the reason why I'm putting this out, I'm doing it for two reasons. I want to let somebody know, because somebody has been dealing with this so much for so long that You're almost convinced that that's who you are. And I'm here to tell you, the devil's a liar. Because you know in your heart and mind, that ain't who you are. But this is a long-term abuse that's been going on, or a long-term brainwashing going on. But what does your heart say? What does that heart say? Now, mind you, your heart is nothing but a extension of your spirit. Your heart is nothing but a connection to your brain. So what I'm saying to you is this. If you think for 1 second it is a coincidence that now, more than ever, you are seeing celebrations of media take a platform to talk about the occult, to talk about possession, to talk about end times, let me tell you something. It's because they believe it too. But see, they also know this. An unimpressioned mind can reap endless benefit. If I can sway your perceptions, I can build a behavior by way of showing patterns. And in the intended time, maybe using music, maybe imagery, it's going to cause you to think and act a certain way. That's why you're seeing what you see now. I'm not going to put politics out there, but I'm going to make an example. Does it surprise you that you have people in the Middle East banding together for a common cause that they think is correct? These people came from all over, but it was that one person that started it all. So what if you had someone else doing the opposite, looking fear exactly in its face and saying, "You're a liar. That's not my life. You're not going to rob me from my destiny. You're not going to smear my legacy because you want to destroy me." No. That's why God always says, vengeance is mine. See, it's not your place to take a vengeful position on someone else. It's your place to learn from it so it does not continue. But energy out is energy in. If you put it out, it's going to find you. You can't run from that. But we try to run from ourselves every day. Every day. And if you realize how beautiful you are, how much a precious time you are in, you would stop some of the things that you do. But see, the great deception going on now is to not take accountability and live recklessly. Come on, Queens. You know I love you. Is it not is it not obvious now that socially There are those that only want to deplete you from the inside out. Of course, they want to socially empower you. Of course, they want you to be sexually free spirit. Why? Because they don't want you to produce. They want you to, to set yourself up so that you will become barren. They want you to, if you do have offsprings, they want them to be bastardized. Now, notice that I said you, because they can't afford you to be with the one, because they know that that will be a home that will be fortified by God's grace. That's why it's always been said, a house that prays together stays together. But if you don't know yourself, how the hell do you think you're going to know your mate? But one thing for sure is this: we attract what we are. And see, that's the problem that a lot of people do not want to take accountability on. You are willfully taking a position of arrogance. You said, you know what? I'm going to go out there and find me a man. I'm going to build me a man, only to pay the ultimate price. But see, that's how the devil works. You think listen, when God created you as woman, he also instilled the gift of nurturement. Do you understand how powerful that is? Do you realize how precious that is? Because without that, you're not connected. You're the root. He is the branches of that family tree. Now, haven't you noticed a strong tree always goes what? Upward. And nothing, or no matter what is going on in the weather, guess what? 9 times out of 10, that tree is going to withstand it. You may knock a branch down. You may lose half of the foundation, but guess what happens? Those roots are deep and they're alive. And guess what? No matter what happens, that foundation will rise, that tree will regenerate itself, and it will continue to produce. But see, that devil, because he's so arrogant, he thinks you're stupid. Yeah, you do. Because he goes in your mind during the day, especially at night, and he looks at your dreams. But you know what he loves the most? He likes to play with your secrets. Oh, yes. Those things that you know that if came out, you wouldn't be able to lift your head. Oh, yeah. Because connected to that is fear. And connected to that fear is shame. And connected to that is ultimate disgrace. But see, he's a liar. He's a coward. And you can't allow something that wants to stunt your growth to have dominion over your life. You can't. That's a choice. That's why I've always said, speak your truth. Speak your truth. Because you're a human. Because you're human. We're going to make mistakes. 65% of the decisions that you will make are made from impulse. So out of that 65%, there was some deception going on. If someone turned around and wrote down their intentions and said, "Here, before we go there, I want you to read this, and then at the bottom, I want you to sign this off," then that would be a willful agreement. But because of the fact that people want to take instead of earn, they use deception, or they proverbially like to roll the spiritual dice, hoping that, well, if it work out, great. If it don't, I'll just work with it. You're not supposed to work with it. It's your life. That's why I have said in the past, anything that is ordained for you to have, it will come to pass. Some of y'all are realizing that now because some of the things that you have done, you can't hide it no more because it's coming out. It has to. And some of y'all are afraid of the outcome because the truth is the truth. That's why they say the truth is like a double-edged sword. But if you're not living your life, does it really matter? Does it really matter? That's right, King. You laid up with her because of what she looked like. But if you were to fall down and get ill, she can't do nothing for you. You with him because of how he make you feel. But you know good and well he is a block. You can't even agree on who's going to get the salt and pepper without it going left. Come on. How many signs do you need? But we know the truth. See, your truth is your dreams are forcing you to look at the things that you hide. That's why you don't like going out in public so much. That's why you've entertained the fact of, well, you know what? If I start fresh and move somewhere nobody knows me, guess what? Your spirit is like a neon sign at midnight. It doesn't matter where you go. You'll never be at peace. It doesn't matter how you try to reinvent yourself. You're still the same person. Now, let me go back because I really went off what I wanted to really say. So I started with this. Every person that you've come in contact, good or bad, you have a contract with them. And until that contract is fulfilled, guess what? You have no closure. You know that. They know that. God knows that, and so does the devil. But if that contract does not honor you, you have to take accountability too, because the fact that that was a lesson and an opportunity to gain wisdom from it. That is why a lot of times, my kings, why do you think that you're attracted to the same caliber women? Because they're just like you. But your mouth says one thing, but your action says another. Because you have a contract. We also know that is a soul tie. Soul ties are 9 times out of 10 spawned from impulse thinking and non-discernment. They're founded by lust. Now, let me throw this out here. There is nothing wrong with seeing someone and they spark attraction to you. There's nothing wrong with that. It becomes a problem when you act on it. That's why you have to fortify your boundaries. See, no one can make you do anything you don't want to do. So let me tell you right now, if you're using the excuse of, well, it was the liquor, well, I was tired, well, it just happened, or you may have heard this. Let me explain something to you, y'all. These people don't see your worth to tell you the truth. And these people already in their mind signed off on it before, and it was an action. See, you can't have an action without a thought first. Haven't you noticed? This is like an artist trying to create a painting. He's got to think about it first so that the creativity that's found in him or her can be produced through their actions. So on the same note, if you're turning around and saying, well, I want to work at this job, it's the steps on you becoming hired has to be thought of before you can get that first welcome aboard. You understand what I'm saying? So nothing happens by chance. Nothing. Nothing. So if you're hearing that, I'm going to tell you this. Give them an opportunity to give you clarity. Because what you might not realize is you may have an integrity issue with yourself, and it's being manifested through the people that are around you. Give me 30 seconds, y'all. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so it's 2016. We're a year older. Look at where you are now compared to where you were a year ago. Now look at the people that were there that are here now. And then take note on those who ain't. What did you gain out of that connection? Are the people around you, can you say wholeheartedly that they have your best interest? Are they investing in their lives? If they're not investing in their lives, what are you growing? What are you learning from them? You know where I'm going with this. Now look back at where you were a year ago and look at the people that ain't in your life. Did you feel like a breath of fresh air when they were removed from your life? Or do you have regret? Because I guarantee you, a nickel to a dime, there was communicational breakdown. And what solidified that was your pride and ego, or the influence of those who are in your life now. But trust and believe this, you still have a contract with those people. You are connected to them spiritually. If you were intimate with them, guess what? Part of their spirit is inside you, and part of theirs and part of yours are in them. That may be the reason why you all of a sudden went through a sea of problems. So you try to be proactive, like, oh, I got to get you up out of here. It's not so easy, y'all, because the two spirits are intertwined. Now let's expand that. Now add that to every person you've been intimate with. I know some of y'all might need some time, but let's be honest and tell me you don't see a pattern. Look at the caliber of people that you were walking with. Look at the common denominator. See, even Tyson know what I'm talking about. And did it cost you? Look at what it cost you. You're going to take accountability now, or you're going to constantly sit in your despair? What are you going to do? Because until you decide to look that beautiful person in the mirror, you're not living, y'all. Marvin Gaye sung that in Inner City Blues. I know there's somebody right now that said, that's my song. Why you think I said it? So don't believe the hype on how something is presented to you, how the outer packaging is displayed. Because you have people that don't want you to become who you are destined to be. But see, these people don't have the courage to tell the truth. Because you know, when you tell the truth, you shame the devil. And then you may be seeing it manifest through your kids. That's right. Your kids, your babies. They're doing things that you know that you disapprove of, and it got you shook. You see the signs. They're obviously there. You know why? Because you did them yourself. So you're in the crossroads now because you're like, who am I to say this is wrong? I would be a hypocrite. You would be a hypocrite if you did nothing about it. So when you gonna stop running? When you gonna stop running? Some of you are miserable where you work. You're not taken serious. And all you want is that opportunity to show your worth. But you've been doing that since the day you walked in. But see, you're starting to see that they only wanted you to play a position. Some of you had doors open because of things you did outside your job. I know I'm talking to someone. And no matter how hard you try to turn a blind eye, you know that's how you got there. You know that's how you got your possessions. But guess what? How ironic does the term possessions have multiple meanings? Because exactly they're connected to you. That may have been the whole angle. You may have been reared in an environment where you said, well, because I didn't have it, I'm going to do whatever I can to obtain it. But you didn't see the pain that was connected to it. You didn't see the shame that came with it. So now you got to sit there and be still, play coy. And you know all you're doing is dumbing yourself down. Why are you doing yourself such a disservice? Don't you realize that, oh yes, I know I pissed somebody off because you know I'm speaking to your heart. You know you're not living your life. You playing a role. That's not, but that's okay because that's going to be your testimony down the road because there's going to be somebody that's going to come into your life, eyes open to the world, and you're going to see yourself through them. You're going to be like, I used to do the same old things. And you're going to try to intercede in that person's life, and they're going to turn around and give you some backlash. I know I'm talking to somebody, but just take that with grace because guess what? They're only doing what you did. That's why we always hear the term real recognizes real, because when the reality comes, depending on how grounded your feet is, it can be very shocking. I think 2016 is going to be the epitome of the word truth. The days of making it to fake it, oh no. Because what we're talking about is that spiritual veil, y'all. That spiritual veil is so close to us that the angels and demons are working overtime. There's been a spiritual battle for your life since the moment that you took your first breath. Why you think you got these nightmares you have? Why you think you seeing things, you seeing people's faces that you know nothing about in your dreams? They're so lucid, so vivid. You can even smell it. You can hear the birds chirping. You can feel the environment in these dreams. I know I'm talking to someone. These are prophetic visions of things you are going to experience depending on when you ground your feet or not. But I'll leave that there. The reason why I put this video out, and I don't have a means of looking at time, so I'm going to hurry up and get to my point. I'm taking this time out to answer some questions that I have had sent to me. You guys don't realize how honored I am to hear from you, because it's a blessing that you even take the time to hear what is conveyed. Nothing is written. All things are, I'm just a vessel just like you. But I believe that this is meant to reach the intended person. This is nothing more than your validation of things you already knew. And you said time and time again, well, I'll see it if I believe it. Well, believe it because I'm giving you your validation. But see, that's how God does. He's a custom tailored God. He will use whatever he needs to get your attention, but it's still your choice to embrace it. Yeah, like right now, I see a woman. She's rolling out of a, looks like a sleigh bed or something. And the side of her jaw is swollen. Stop touching it. You know it's swollen. And you're trying to figure out, how am I going to cover this up? What kind of excuse am I going to give? And he's over there laying like nothing happened. And you're saying to yourself, my relationship shouldn't be like a UFC fight. So I turn around and I do what you tell me to do, even though you don't honor me. But then what you don't realize is you take the voice that you should have, you take that empowerment to your job and you take it out on people that you work with. And what you don't realize is they're sick of it. They know that something's going on with you, but you don't have the courage to claim what is going on. You've actually had another woman, I know I'm talking to someone, that's come to you and has tried to have a conversation with you and say, hey, baby girl, I'm not trying to step on your toes, but I am concerned. And you mock that like, oh, you know, I accidentally fell. Don't you realize people that have gone through abuse know abuse? There's no different than an addict recognizing another addict. It's the same. But the reality is, you still have not broken the shallowness that you have in your heart. You got a root in your heart because you preoccupied on where you live, the status that you have. And you think, well, you know, it just comes with the territory. You know, for me to have this, you know, I drive this and I live here and, you know, he'll change eventually. You know, I'll prove my loyalty, but he keeps beating on you. Intimacy, what is that? What is it? You don't have intimacy with yourself. And he has systematically brainwashed you. He's got you doing things that you know ain't no love in it. And he has conditioned you to endure it. That's not your energy, that's his. But yet you keep convincing yourself, well, you know, they don't understand him like I do. What you're witnessing is what we know is Stockholm syndrome. You're letting the abuser, you're protecting this person. You're saying, well, you know, he had a rough childhood and you know he had some tough breaks and well, guess what? People change every day. You've tried to talk to him about, hey, let's start going to church and yeah, he does that to appease you, but God ain't in his life. He's the type that values what is tangible. If I don't see it, I don't believe it. So, you know, he has that mystique. And part of it is because it's a show to him. Give me a second, y'all. And it's sad, y'all, because you allow your materialism, you put more value in your materialism than your own life. Same to you, King. You turn around and say, you know, I'm looking for that one break. And if I can do that, I can start anew. But yet you don't want to invest in yourself, but you quick to blame everybody else instead of taking accountability for your life. It's those seeds that we're given, which is known as time, that we must value the most. You can't just let anybody have access to you. You can't just let anyone do anything to you. That's why I go back. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing. So when you're going to start loving you? I always convey for those who, if you're going, I always tell everybody, why are you so prideful that you won't seek out advice from somebody when you know your life is not where you want it to be? Do you actually think you were brought on this planet to play the slave? I mean, really? You think that, well, as long as I keep the spice going and I do what he says or do what she says, they're going to stick around? How many signs do you have to see that these people don't love you? The reason why you're there is because they don't want to be alone. I know I'm talking to someone. So you got pretty much an agreement of cohabitation, because it's not a relationship. And this is how you know. These people have actually had the audacity to let the words, hey, let's just have an open relationship, fall from their mouth. And you actually wanted to entertain it because you don't see your self-worth. They're telling you, I don't value you, and I want to go do me. I know I'm talking to someone, and you thinking, well, you know what? As long as they happy, I get something out of the bargain. Your life is not a bargain. Your life is an experience. But if you listen to your friends, they'll tell you everything under the sun to stay. You don't even smile anymore. You have this smirk. You got this disdain look in your eyes. Because see, behind those eyes is pain. Behind those eyes are darkness. And you one step closer to emotional breakdown. Well, let it fall then. Because when you fall down, guess what? The people that never had your best interest, they're gonna break from you. Yeah, they are. They're gonna break from you. And when you decide to stand up, guess what? They ain't gonna be there. They ain't gonna be there because they was never supposed to be there anyway. So let me bring this home. Somebody wanted to know why I set out to do these videos. I initially started doing these videos because I believed that God wanted me to be an apostle. And there were so many signs that indicated that that was supposed to be my walk, because as my strength in regards to my spirituality was growing, the 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 commonalities all echoed the same thing, because with an apostle, the apostle goes out to the people. He talks to them on the level that they present him, and they do the work. And I thought that that's what I was called to do. Little did I know that no, My calling is to be a psychologist, to be a counselor. But before that can be my reality, I had to know Youre. We're talking about a man. I'm talking about myself. I've been all over the world. I've met thousands of people and had thousands of hours of conversations. And the one thing that I've noticed is every time I was somewhere, there was something being revealed for me to learn. This may be you. You you've caught yourself on different occasions scratching your head saying, well, if I had not been there to witness this, I would not have gained this wisdom or insight. But that's how God does. But one thing that God will never do, he will not interfere in your choice. It's not his responsibility to. That's why he gives us free will. That's why the angels exist. But see, we live in a society that is heavily influenced by fallen angels. Our sciences, our interpretations, these are all things that were taught by the angels that fell. Everything. Man didn't just do that. The angels taught. But if you don't know who you are, how can you have gain a greater insight of worldly things when you understand what I'm saying? You can't ask for questions about what's going on in the heavens if you don't understand what's going on in the world. Just like there are people, I hate to say it, that their purpose is to live a demonic life. These people are nothing but conduits for demonic spirits. That's why I said you got to be careful for the packaging. You got to be careful of that. That's why it's very important that you discern. Because as long as you discern, all things hidden will be revealed to you. There might be somebody going through a rebirth right now, and the people that were around you ain't got nothing to do with you because they think you crazy. What? You're not crazy. You're being made renewed. You're starting to gain answers to things, and you're gaining education from things, and you're like, well, wait a minute, where did this come from? Why is it? Why do I know about this? And then you decide to do the research on it, and verbatim it is there. But it's because, see, you got to understand, y'all, we only use 6% of our brain. 6%. You know why we only use 6%? Because all the 94% is hidden to us. Because if we had access to the other 94%, we would be dangerous to ourselves. That's why God is never going to give you things you can't withstand. But if you constantly allow man to influence you, you'll be distracted. I ain't got to tell you that. I got a king right now. You have so much anger in your heart because you've even questioned your own mortality. You've actually said to yourself, why am I here? I wish I was not. You've actually had those words come out your mouth. And you're surprised that nothing is positive around you because you got a stronghold around you. It might not have been done by your hands. It may have come by inheritance from your family. Papa might have been a Rolling Stone, but that don't mean that you got to roll with him. I know I'm talking to someone. Because see, at the end of the day, y'all, you will have that headstone. And that headstone will have your name on it. And it will have your date of birth and your date of ending. But the most powerful thing on there, other than your name, is that hashtag. There's that hash. Because that hash is your life. So it is your responsibility to protect it. But make no mistake about it. You got to atone for the things you've done. You've got to forgive those who have wronged you. You got to. You got to do that. You can't call yourself strong if you're not willing to take a position of humility. You can't, what? Come on, man. But see, you're going off of what you were taught. You're going off of what you were exposed to. So if everything around your environment was negative, then guess what? There's a 50% chance that you are going to emulate what you know, because that's your knowledge. I said this before, and I'm going to shut up on this. If I took a child, I'll say a newborn baby from, I'll say Ukraine, right? And I took that baby and put that baby and gave it to a family, I'll say Watts. The way that that family lives is going to be the perceptions and the impressions on the psychology of that child. I said this before. If I took a father that had a daughter and he did everything he's supposed to do as her parent, 9 times out of 10, the little girl's habits and perceptions are going to be what was exhibited from her father or the person that was the influence. So why does it surprise you that when you have single mothers that are raising sons, that they have a feminine disposition? Because there's no male influence there. That's the byproduct of the environment. So I'll let y'all chew on that. Someone asked me, what was the other one she said? Oh, do I believe that we have access to the spirit realm? Yes, we do every day. Because angels and demons are real. From those maybe noticing this now, your sex drive is through the roof. You have a craving for a sexual encounter like air. Yes, yeah, it's real easy for some people to say, you just a freak, you just a nympho. That's just no. First of all, the craving is there because there's a lack of intimacy exhibited by you. The expression is the sexual exchange. You have people walking around this planet that will not admit it, but they long to be loved. physically. And they will sleep around. They'll sleep with anybody just to have that energy exchange, because intimacy is nothing but the exchange of sexual, spiritual exchange. That's all it is. It just so happens to be gratifying. That's where the orgasmic release comes from. But trust and believe that orgasmic release not only has your spiritual essence in it, your DNA in it, but it's very powerful. So you once again have to protect your temple. I ain't gotta tell you that. Look at where you were this time last year compared to where you are now, and look at all the people that you've slept with. Yeah, be honest now, because I know you're saying, well, that don't count. There was still a physical exchange. Listen here, y'all. If you want your dreams to come true, you got to invest in them. But you can't invest in them until you have the courage to get to know you. If you don't know what you like compared to what you don't, why do you do it? If it costs, if living your life costs you just an ounce of sleep, just to be around a certain circle of people, that's not where you're supposed to be. You were never supposed to be there. But I ain't got to tell you that, because see, at the end of the day, we all got to do our work, and we all have to look ourselves in the mirror. And until you decide to do the work, your life as you know it is going to progress on the same path. But I'm going to tell you right now, some of y'all, the devil thinks that you're just doing exactly what he wants. And the ultimate goal is your life. And unfortunately, some of y'all are going to pay a price of incarceration too, because the person that you're aligning yourself with, yeah, I'm talking to that person. You're saying to yourself, well, I know that they do that, but they ain't got nothing to do with me. No, let me tell you something. When the time comes, when they go down, they're gonna put it all on you. I know that needs to go out to somebody. You're gonna pay for that. See, Tyson in the background, like, yep. But somebody's saying, Gerald, I just want to be loved by the one. You can't attract the one if you're not the one. So in other words, if you're not investing in you, stop fronting. Stop thinking that your assets are going to be the doorway to your dreams, when it actually is going to be the doorway to your despair. But you can't tell those little girls that, running to get old, beautiful queens dying to be young. You want to turn back the hands of time? Go within your heart. Start doing that work. Start answering those truths. Start taking accountability for your life. And one by one, all things that had contracts with, all those people, because look, let me tell you something. You're going to see those people again. Every one of them. Because they either going to come with a lesson or a blessing. It just depends on how and when you're willing to accept the truth. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me to discern mine. Stop getting mad at somebody living their life when you choose not to claim yours. You might realize the moment that you decide to stop lying to yourself, you'll start to actually see your blessings come. Why you think that you're seeing what you're seeing? But see, that devil is going to constantly get you to think, well, nah, I'm going to take the shortcut. Every time you take a shortcut, you cut your life short. So we're talking time. You tired of those bruises? You tired of those bumps? You tired of those disrespects? You tired of the lack of sleep at night? How about that addiction? Huh? Let's talk about that. You crave for companionship, but you'll never have companionship until you have it with yourself first. So stop saying to everybody, this is the last time. No, it's not. You lying. You lying. That's why reinventing yourself doesn't work. That's why your spirit will always come out in front. And if you don't put God first in everything you do, you are willfully delaying your blessings. Choice is yours. It's time to live, y'all. Claim your life back. Be blessed. Peace.